Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of All the Mods 7. So in the last episode, we got through about what I would say is 75% of the Mekanism questline, and I know that I only have the mecha armor to get left, or whatever it's called, the MekaSuit, but I'll explain why that takes so much time in just a second. Before I get into that though, I did want to point out that just like I said, I went ahead and completed all of these quests in between episodes, just because it was a lot of crafting and waiting and crafting and waiting, and I figured that'd be kind of boring to watch, so I just went ahead and did it. One other quick thing before we start this episode, last time I asked for what you guys thought I should name this little guy, and my favorite name that I got suggested was Lil Lemon. That's not how you spell lemon. Lil Lemon. So we're gonna name him that. Look at that. Look, he is so cool, and now he has a name that's not just a robot. I just want to warn you all now, this episode is going to be absolutely stupid. Not because of what I'm actually doing, but because it is so stupidly complicated. In order to get the MekaSuit, like 75% of the materials, super easy to get. Then we have these little blue discs, polonium pellets, which require polonium, which require nuclear waste. What's the problem with getting nuclear waste? You need a fission reactor to get that. And yeah, fission reactor, not too bad, whatever. Only problem is, to get that, you need fissile fuel, I think that's how you say it, fizzle fuel? And that doesn't sound too bad, right? Well, look at this diagram that I wrote. This is the steps to getting fizzle fuel. Everything you see on this paper is a step that I have to take and build in order to make this thing work. Now, actually going ahead and getting all of the little building blocks like these Mekanism machines behind me isn't too difficult. The problem is that we need to have 2 unlimited sources of water, an unlimited source of uranium ingots, which actually isn't too bad, because if we go in here, you can see oh my god, that's so much. I've kind of started to use the mystical agriculture stuff to start to get uranium essence. If we go over here, you'll see in these 5, it's uranium seeds, so that's not too bad. The one that's going to be relatively more difficult is I need sulfur dust, and in order to get the sulfur dust we need coal blocks, and that's totally fine. I have coal essence being made right here. It's not that big of a deal. Only problem is we need 2 mechanical crafting things that'll first turn it into coal like this, and then turn that coal into coal blocks like this, and that is just so much more stupidness that we really just don't need, but I guess we do need, so let's just jump right on into this. So the way that I actually want to go about this is I am going to make all of the different blocks that I need first, just because I don't think that you all really want to just sit through silence of me crafting stuff, because that would just be kind of boring. And in total, I'm pretty sure there's maybe 10 or 11 different of these blocks that I need. Definitely need multiples of some. And I already have to grab some stuff from here since there's duplicates that I need. Okay, and as you can see now here, these are the 10 blocks that I actually need to get this thing running, as well as some pressurized tubes, universal cables, and mechanical pipes. The only thing now is I'm kind of struggling on how I'm going to get power over to this whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I am going to actually make some wind generators and then take those over, and hopefully that'll be good enough for the amount of power that I need, because I'm not actually going to be building this thing right by my house, because once I get the nuclear reactor, whatever it's called, the fission reactor up and running, there's a possibility of nuclear meltdown, and I don't really want that happening by my house. And as you can see here, I ended up making 5 wind generators. It's enough to power everything here, so hopefully it'll be enough to power everything over there. And eventually, the fission reactor as well will also act as a power source to power itself, I guess. So we'll just see how that goes. The reason that I'm moving over here is because I need to find a space to build this that's a decent bit away from my stuff. Maybe I'll chop down this bunch of trees right here and build it right here. Only because if nuclear meltdown does happen, don't really want it happening over there. Okay, and as you can see, I kind of found an area, cleared out a bunch of the trees, filled in some like dirt patches and stuff to make it a little bit flatter. And if this area doesn't end up having enough room, I can always expand a little bit in that direction. There's a bunch of like open space, but I think this will be good for now. And I'll start building just by placing down the 5 wind generators over here, just like this, because I'll have all of these going into one singular, like, universal cable area, just so it's not like, oh, this specific one is powering this one specific block. It'll all be powering the same machine. And it looks like it's generating, like, a decent amount of power, which is absolutely perfect. So if I'm being 100% honest, this build is a little bit complicated, and I feel like it would be kind of boring just to show me placing down all the blocks and building it. So what I'm going to do is a cool little transition, just like this, and when we zoom back out, we'll have a completely finished machine. In all honesty, this thing took me way longer than I thought it would to make it. You can even see I had to make some accommodations with our wind generators, because the further up that you like place them, the more power they generate. So they're all the way up there, and we also have 9 of them now. So that's cool. But it powers everything, and if we look in this isotopic centrifuge, it makes the fissile fuel, and it's 100% renewable. These pipes lead back to the garden cloches over there. It all works, and it's so cool, and I absolutely love it. And now that we do have this system all up and running and creating the fuel that we need, we can actually move on to making the fission reactor, which is gonna take a while, so let's get right on into that. The only reason this is probably going to be the longest part of the process is you need steel. And in order to get steel, you need to put iron inside of one of these blast furnaces, and it takes 5 minutes per block of iron to like turn it into steel. So I've got 4 of these going right now. I did a bunch of that while I was actually building the thing over there. So right now I have like 600 steel ingots, but I honestly still don't know if that's going to be enough. So the first priority of thing that I need to make is, let's see if I can find it actually, is these control rod assemblies. We need 13 of them, which, oh god, okay. We need to make a bunch of these reinforced alloy. Then we can make a bunch of these, except we can't because we need to make these, which we can make a bunch of right now, like that. And now we can make the rest of the 13 that we need. On top of that, we're also going to need 13 times 4, which is 52 of these basic chemical tanks. God, we are going to absolutely blast through all of this steel. Okay, and now that we have these 52 fission fuel assemblies, we can move on to starting to make the casing for this thing. And for that, we need 138, which means we are going to need a lot of steel casing. And there we go. All the fission reactor casing made. Now we also need reactor glass. And for that we need 100. And there we go. Now, the last thing that I'm going to need is these fission reactor ports. And we need 4 of them. Just like that. And then we can actually go over and start to put this thing together. We're not going to power it up yet, because if we do, nuclear waste will go everywhere, and that would be really bad. But we're going to do this thing. So I think I'll build it right here, and it's going to take up a 7 by 7 by 7 area. And then the next thing we're going to need to build after this is a turbine, and that's going to take up a lot more room. Hopefully we'll have all the materials to build that thing. And it even looks like we made a little more casing that I actually needed, which is perfect. Now we just have to place the ports where they need to go. And then we can start putting in these control rod assemblies. The reason that I needed 13 is because you have to place them in kind of like a checkerboard pattern like this. Because if you put them like right next to each other like these 5, it actually makes the amount of power this thing creates, or the amount of, I don't even know, steam, it lessens it. But hopefully I'm building this correctly, because I really do not want radioactivity to leak in this area, because that would be really bad. Okay, we got all the fuel cells in place. Now we just gotta put the reactor glass in, just like this. And then, if I'm correct, once I finish putting this in, there'll be red particles, which means it is completely built. Just gotta fix this weird texture glitch like this, I believe. Yeah, I don't know why it does this. But there we go. Finished reactor. If we click on it, you can see this is everything that it's doing right now. The temperature, we can't activate it because it will kill everything in the area. So now we have to start doing some configuration with this thing. So in order for this thing to not melt down, it needs a water input, and we can actually place that just like right in front over here. And then have the pipe go like that. Put the water in there. And then also, I would like to upgrade this with 8 speed upgrades to make it go a lot faster, because this thing takes probably like an actual hour to fill all the way up. And then the last thing we need to do is actually give this thing power, so let's hook it up underground like we have everything else. Hopefully this will actually work and won't take away power. Ooh, the coolant is filling! And nothing is losing power, which means it's perfect. Once this thing actually fills up with water, we technically won't need this pump here anymore. I'll probably leave it there just because once we actually hook up the steam generator next to it, or the turbine, it becomes a closed system. So all of the steam that this thing produces will get pushed into the turbine, and once the turbine's done with it, it'll turn it back into water, put it back into here. And also it looks like this thing does not have enough power, so time to add to our mutant farm of wind generators up there. I don't mind though, they're not hard to make at all, and I don't technically have to look at them if I don't want to. I mean, I can see them from over here, but oh look, out of sight, out of mind. And now with our expanded wind farm, hopefully this water pump should be... No. Why? Why is it doing this? Okay, and now with our even more expanded wind farm, hopefully this will be pumping it out. It's more consistent, that's okay. But as you can see, this thing is filling up, and it's probably gonna take a while. So while that's actually going, let's go and grab the configurator, I think that's what it's called, so we can actually start to configure all of the ports. I also totally forgot there's one more port that I need to put up here, and then, okay, it'll rebuild itself, good. So this port is gonna be coolant input, this one's also input, this one is going to be also input, and then this one is coolant output, and this one is waste output. If I'm correct, if I hook this up like this, the fuel should actually start being put into the fission reactor. Yes! Fuel is being created! And this thing is also creating more fissile fuel constantly because it's a closed system and everything works automatically. Oh my god, I love this so much. While we're actually waiting for that thing over there to fill up, we can get started getting all the turbine stuff that we need. And something tells me it's going to be very, very complicated. Let's see how much steel this thing has produced for us. Ooh, that is actually a lot more than I expected. So for the turbine, we're also going to need a lot of this casing, but it's also going to be significantly taller than the fission reactor. We're also going to need 25 of these saturating condensers, 7 of these turbine rotors, and that means 14 of these turbine blades. I also forgot we need 5 of these electromagnetic coils, which is actually what stores up the power that's made in this turbine, because the turbine does help the closed system with the fission reactor, but it also produces power, which is perfect. So right here, I actually have most of the materials that I need to build this turbine. The only thing is I did run out of steel, so I have to wait a pretty long time now for all of these blocks, not all of these blocks of iron, but for enough to turn into the steel that I need. But in the meantime, we can actually get started on building this thing. I don't have everything, so it's not going to be finished, but it'll be most of it. So just like the fission reactor, it is a 7x7 area. Then in the middle here, we can start to put up these 7 turbine rotors, which will signify how tall this thing's actually going to be. And then we can build up a thing like this around the top, a border. And then hopefully I have enough for the second border that's going to go on top of this. And it looks like we do. Okay, that's perfect. We can also put the first set of vents inside here like this, and also put in the set of saturating condensers, as well as the electromagnetic coils. I don't have all of them yet, but on the inside here, these pressure dispensers are gonna go. And pretty much what these do is it just makes sure that this whole thing doesn't, like, blow up, in the sense that the pressure doesn't build up too much in the rotor engine that's gonna go right here and make everything stop working. At this point, there's nothing that I can really do until I wait for all the steel to be done and also that thing to fill up, so we'll be back once that's all done. Alright, and as you can see here, I went through and got pretty much everything that I'm going to need to finish this whole thing, including some of the other stuff to make the polonium, like the solar neutron activator, and lots of radioactive waste barrels, because we're going to need those to make sure radiation doesn't get into the environment. So the first thing we gotta do is actually finally finish up this turbine, because now we have all the materials to do that, which took a very long time to get all of these, by the way. It was not fun waiting for all that steel to process. And then hopefully when I place these last few blocks in, it'll turn red, which means we finished the turbine. Now the next step of this is actually going to be connecting up the turbine and the fission reactor to make it a closed system so the water doesn't escape and it's all part of one big thing. So the water system gets hooked up like this, and this is what's actually going to take the water out of the vents that's been made and push it back into the fission reactor. Then we need to hook up these basic pressurized tubes to the back of this thing. And this is what's going to put any steam made by the fission reactor back into the turbine, because the steam is what actually powers the turbine. So now these two things are technically hooked up, and I could turn this on in a minute once this water fills all the way up. But what I would like to do now is actually set up the system that's going to make all of the polonium. It's super easy to automate this. You just need a lot of pressurized tubes and a lot of waste barrels. Well, you only need one to hold the stuff to make the polonium. And then you can put this here, and it'll eventually, this will push the toxic waste into here, making liquid polonium, which will then be put into, I don't remember what it's put into. I'll have to figure that out. But then that liquid polonium will turn into these polonium pellets once combined with fluorite dust, and in order to get that, I made myself a crusher, and also this chest over here is so full of fluorite. So I'm going to have another item pipe coming out of it just so they can go into here and also into the thing back here. So just to be cautious, because I know that if radiation does ever leak out, it's a very large area. I'm going to put the toxic waste barrels over here, because if we look on the map, this is pretty far away from most of the stuff that I use all the time. If this gets radiated, that's totally fine. We can just make a hazmat suit and go over there, but I really don't want to risk any of my, like, bees dying, because that took really long to do, and I just don't want to risk that. On top of that, though, this thing isn't actually going to be powered 100% of the time. I'm probably only ever going to actually power it when I need to make polonium, and I'm only actually probably going to need, like, 2 stacks of it to make literally everything that the mod has. So now we can start to hook up the pressurized reaction chamber. We also need an input of water, which should not be too difficult to do. We can just pull it from over here, just like that. So that should start filling up with water. Then we'll have it pull the polonium out into a storage drawer right here. And then this output right here will be the gas, which now we can bring all the way over to our toxic waste barrels, and it'll just store everything over there. I'm hoping to God that I did this right and don't end up radiating my entire 2 or 1 year of work, because that would suck so much. And now that this is all hooked up, any radioactive waste should be put into these 25 barrels, which should be more than enough storage for all of the waste this thing will make. Because I'm not actually going to need like a consistent source of polonium for everything, what I might do is just take 3 stacks of this fluorite right here, turn this into dust in a crusher, and then just use that, because these 3 stacks will more than likely be more than enough for what I need. Okay, and now we have all of the fluorite dust that I'm going to need. At this point, we're literally just waiting for the coolant to fill all the way up, and it's almost there. Like, I'm pretty sure it just has to get to 34 million, so we just have to wait a little bit longer for that, and then we can finally turn this thing on. Alright, and as you can see here, the coolant tank is completely filled with water. It's not completely filled with fuel, but that's fine. I didn't expect it to completely fill. It's pretty full anyway. So I'm pretty sure that I can turn this thing on now, I hope. Because I have this, it'll pull the toxic waste out of there, and it'll put it into here, and then it'll pull that into here, I hope. Oh, God. Okay. Please don't be toxic everywhere. It's turned on. That means this should start going soon. Technically, it's working. Oh, my God. Okay. That means if we go back here and we look in here, nuclear waste is being put in. And, it's not being powered by anything. We gotta fix that fast. Dig out an area right here so that we can bring this under like this. Put the universal cables down. Oh, this doesn't actually need... Oh, it's making polonium. Oh my God, it's working. I forgot that this thing doesn't actually need energy. It's powered by the sun. Still gotta hook up the other thing, though. Now, I'm gonna stick a bunch of this fluorite dust in here. It's not gonna work yet because you need more than 26 polonium. I know that for sure. You need 1,000 megabuckets, whatever, and it's made 28 so far. So we kind of just have to wait for this whole thing to go. I'm very happy that it's working. This thing is producing a little bit of power now. I'm honestly never actually going to use this thing for power. The only reason that I made it was so that I could get the polonium. And as you can see, it's working. But because of that, now we have to play the really long waiting game. So once again, we'll be back once that polonium starts getting actually produced. So there's good news and bad news. The good news is, look at all of these polonium pellets that we got from the fission reactor. And now the bad news. Kids, cover your ears from this one. The reactor fucking exploded. I genuinely have no idea why this happened. My theory is that I kind of left it on running for too long, and there's kind of a silver lining to this, because as much as it sucks that all that work is just gone, it wasn't very efficient at all. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. It took me, I think, 13 hours of waiting to get these 17 polonium pellets. And then at some point after that, this blew up and exploded every other polonium pellet that was probably in the system at the time. So that's cool. The reason I'm flying so high above this now is because this entire area is radioactive at the moment. That's not really a good thing. Where is it? Wait, hold on. Things are still alive. If I go down here... Nope, it's still radioactive. I gotta get out of here. Thankfully, the radioactivity stops, like, literally right here. Right where all of my stuff begins. So that's lucky. But, you know, we are kind of lucky that we got this amount of polonium pellets, because it's absolutely perfect for everything that I want to make this episode, and even a little bit more. But what was I saying about that not being a horrible thing? Oh yeah, even though it took me a really long time to do, what I want to do in the future, because eventually we are going to need a lot of polonium, what I can do is we are going to eventually, not this episode, because it would be literally 3 times as long, we are going to make an absolutely giant version of the fission reactor and turbine, probably the maximum size you can do, which is going to take a really long time and be decided on its own entire episode. But that's going to be in the future. For now, we can finally make the MekaSuit. Or we should start with... Oh, that's right. There's one other thing that I need to do before I can actually make the MekaSuit. In here, if I look it up, you can see I got myself a ton of brine. And the reasoning for that is to make all of the mecha stuff, you need a basic induction cell. And for that, you need lithium, which is made from lithium, which is made from liquid lithium, which is made in the thermal evaporation controller, which is this thing, by putting brine into it. So we can start putting all of this brine into it, and once it turns daytime, because it's not heated up yet, it'll turn all of it into the stuff that we need, the lithium. So let's go ahead and sleep real quick, and then hopefully after I wake up, because it'll be daytime and the sun will come out, the solar panels will actually heat this whole thing up, and it'll start to make the lithium that we need. Yes, liquid lithium. Let's go. I'm honestly not 100% sure if it's going to be enough liquid lithium. And from the looks of it, I don't think it is, because we need 4 pieces of lithium dust per piece, and one of these buckets equates to 1 dust. So we still need 6 more buckets of liquid lithium. While we actually go ahead and do that, we can start to actually put it... Wait, hold on. We can put... Wait, where do we put it? Oh, there we go. Okay. We can put it in here, and then if we look in here, yes, it's turning it into regular lithium. So while we wait for all the brine to actually finish brining, I don't know, we can actually start to make the lithium dust that I need, because the 2 things that I need, the rotary condensator right here, which is turning it into gaseous lithium, is what I found out, that gets pumped into this chemical crystallizer. We can literally just make sure that the gas output is right here, and the gas input is right there. Do that, pumps it into here, it's going to turn it into crystallized lithium dust. Blech, that's what it's called. I'm so thrown off by the fact that my thing exploded right now. And also, after looking, it kind of looks like we're gonna have enough lithium, because it only takes 100 millibuckets. That's what I've been told it is. If it's not, I got absolutely pranked. It only takes 100 millibuckets to make 1 lithium dust, not 1,000. So we're totally good. I can actually stop this brine production right now. Okay, and I believe this 20 lithium dust is all I'm gonna need for now, so we can start to make everything else. So there is the 5 lithium induction cells that I need. And now for the mecha tool, we also need a configurator, which I have, an atomic disassembler, which I believe I also have, and then 2 of these ultimate control circuits. Am I gonna need... How many ultimate control circuits am I gonna need? 2, 3, 4, 5, it looks like 6. So let's go ahead and make those as well. While I've been waiting for all these reinforced alloys so that I can turn them into the atomic alloys, I also set up right here a little mini HDPE pellet production system for the HDPE sheets, which I need. And you can see that's working pretty well. We've got all of these substrate, which need to be put through here. We have got all this oxygen and all this liquid lithium, so that'll help us with HDPE stuff, because that's also something that we need for all of the mecha stuff. Okay, and we got a bunch more reinforced alloy, which means we can make a bunch of these elite controller circuits, which means we can now make a bunch of these ultimate control circuits. We still have a few more of these atomic alloy getting pushed into here, but once we get that, we can finally start to make all the mecha stuff. So first of all, let's make the mecha tool. I have no idea what this does. If I stand on here, does it... It does charge it up. Ooh, that's really cool. What if I put it in here instead? Ooh, that also charges it up. That is also very cool. Okay, what does this do? Do you have to install modules? Whoa, teleportation unit? No, I don't have the stuff to make antimatter. Okay, well... We don't really need the mecha tool right now. I'm just going to kind of put it away right for the moment. The main thing that I'm excited to make is the MekaSuit itself, because this thing is absolutely insane. It has the same defense as the unobtainium armor, but you can install the modules and stuff, and Oh, chapter complete, Mekanism. Let's go. Oh, and it gave us polonium. How generous. So if I put this on and then stand on the... Whoa. It gives me my coordinates in a little HUD. That's so cool. Oh, and it shows the power of everything, too. Oh my god, that's so cool. Okay, here's the thing though. So right now it does, I'm pretty sure it does like actually a lot of defense. But what I would like to do is there is a solar charging unit, this thing, and I can actually use these advanced solar generators because I only needed them over here for the moment to give me enough power for this thing because it was going kind of slow. But now we can use that combined with these module bases to get ourselves the solar recharge unit, which I'm pretty sure I just do this. How do I put the thing on? It looks like we need something called a modification station, which I actually have everything that I need to craft, surprisingly. So let's do that, and I'm pretty sure this thing's gonna need power, yeah. So let's move this library over here, then bring this right there, give this power. That is in there. We can put this here, I think. Or do we have to wait for it to charge all the way up? Does that go there? Oh, there we go. Solar recharge unit, which I'm pretty sure you can make multiple of. And if you put this on, it's not daytime right now. But if we sleep and make it daytime... Oh, never mind. It is a blood moon. But I'm pretty sure if we wait long enough for daytime to come, which it literally looks like it's about to happen because I can't see the sun or the moon. Never mind, the moon's right up there. But it'll actually charge it using solar power. Now let's take a look through these other modules, see what there is. So we've also got this geothermal unit, which I can put on the pants. Ooh, this is a good one. The charge distribution module, because when it charges, it'll evenly distribute charging through the whole thing. And this goes on the body armor, like this. And then we have one polonium pellet left, so we can look for something that only requires one or none, because there are some that require none. It honestly doesn't look like there's any more. So, now that we have this suit, what I want to see, let's take off this cosmetic armor, and then also get rid of that, and also turn off all that, because if we do... Oh, this is so cool looking. This thing is so cool. Actually, let's turn off all the trinkets visibility, see if that does anything. Because, like, it's not covering my whole head, which is super weird. I don't know why. Honestly, I don't even care that the, like, head isn't really working. This thing looks so cool. And look, the solar generator's working. Everything is charging properly. Let's go. Pretty sure if we also combine that with standing on here, it'll charge even faster. But I don't even care. I've been waiting for so long to make this suit of armor, and it is honestly insanely cool looking. I do want to see something, though. What if I turn on the night vision goggles and then turn off that? This also looks pretty cool. I actually really like I really like how this looks. I wonder what the geothermal unit is. If I go to, like, the nether and stand next to lava, does it mean it's going to charge from the heat there? Yes. Oh my god, and it charges so fast. Oh, I'm having an idea. What if we get ourselves a little pool of soul lava? Because soul lava is significantly hotter than normal lava. Put that down. Sit in it. Look how fast that is charging. That is absolutely insane. And the more this, I'm pretty sure the more this is charged, the higher the defense is. So when this thing is all the way charged, it has the same defense as the unobtainium armor, but has the added bonus of being able to add all these modules, which eventually, once we start the polonium process back up again, I do hope to get some of. God, just by talking through that, it immediately charged the whole thing. That's absolutely insane. This thing is so cool. But with that absolutely long process being done and the tragedies that came with it along the way, I think I'm going to end the episode here. This is probably the coolest armor set I have ever gotten from any mod, and this is definitely gonna be my look for the rest of this series. I don't even care if I get another armor that looks cool. There's nothing that will ever beat this mecha suit. And I think it actually looks pretty good with the helmet off, which kind of sucks because the helmet does look cool, but because it's glitching with my head for some reason, I'll just have to leave it like this, and I still think it looks pretty cool. So thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe, as it really does help out, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!